What if the truth about your identity and power has been hidden from you for centuries? What if everything you've been taught is a lie? The key to changing your life and the world around you is already within you. It's time to uncover the truth. This video is here to challenge everything you thought you knew about your heritage and your identity. Minister Louis Farrakhan's powerful words call on us to reclaim our true divine power and purpose. Are you ready to hear what's been kept from you for so long? Join me as we explore the sacred truth of Black identity, unity, and empowerment. Through Farrakhan's teachings, we'll dive into the divine purpose for Black people and how you can unlock the power within. This is a message for those ready to embrace their destiny. 1. The sacredness of Black identity. Minister Louis Farrakhan speaks with passion about the sacredness of Black people, reminding us that we were created in God's divine image. From the very beginning, we were fashioned by the Creator, not in some random form, but in the most profound and meaningful way. Farrakhan argues that if we truly understand our divine origins, we would see ourselves not just as individuals, but as the embodiment of God's creation. This perspective is crucial, especially when we consider how Black identity has been misrepresented and oppressed for centuries. The message is clear. Black people are not a mere accident of history. We are the first. The sacredness of our existence cannot be overstated. Farrakhan references scripture, like Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. He reminds us that this means each Black person is created in the likeness of the Almighty. We have divinity embedded in us from the start. This is not a metaphor, it is the truth of our existence. When we understand that we are made in the image of God, we begin to view ourselves with a higher sense of purpose and identity. Farrakhan challenges us to remember that when others, particularly in the system of oppression, try to diminish us, they are not just attacking us as individuals, they are attacking the divine nature within us. To demean Black people is to challenge God's creation itself. To harm a Black person is to harm a piece of God. This call to embrace our sacredness is not just about personal pride or empowerment. It's a spiritual awakening. Farrakhan urges us to recognize that when we accept our divine nature, we tap into a wellspring of strength, resilience, and purpose that transcends the hardships we've faced. We are, at our core, vessels of divine energy, and with that comes an unshakable potential to change the world. Embracing the idea that we are God's creation leads us to understand our own power. As children of God, we carry the essence of God's will in us. Our creativity, our intelligence, our ability to heal and transform. All these are reflections of God working through us. While this realization does more than make us aware of our worth, it elevates our responsibilities. We are not here merely to survive, but to lead, to thrive, and to fulfill the mission God has given us. Farrakhan's message calls us to reframe how we see ourselves and each other. By standing in the power of our divine creation, we not only uplift ourselves, but also inspire the entire community. The sacredness of Black identity is a gift, a divine calling to step into the fullness of who we were always meant to be. It's time to reclaim that truth and walk in our divine power. 2. The impact of self-hate and oppression. Minister Louis Farrakhan doesn't shy away from addressing the painful reality of self-hate within the Black community. This phenomenon didn't arise naturally. It was cultivated through centuries of oppression and dehumanization. For generations, Black people were told they were inferior, subhuman, and less worthy. This message was echoed through slavery, segregation, and systemic racism, poisoning the minds of Black people with self-doubt. Farrakhan makes it clear that the pain caused by such oppression is not just physical, it's spiritual. One of the key biblical truths Farrakhan emphasizes is from 1 John 4:20. How can you love God, whom you've never seen, and hate your brother, whom you have seen? The Bible asks us to recognize the divine presence in each person, especially in our own community. Farrakhan brings this home with a poignant reminder that when we harm one another, we are dishonoring God's creation. The deep-seated hatred and violence that exists within black communities against each other is, in essence, a spiritual struggle. It's not just a result of historical oppression, but also the result of spiritual ignorance. By internalizing the false narratives imposed by society, black people have been conditioned to see each other as less than. We see one another through the lens of what others have made us believe about ourselves, a mirror distorted by centuries of abuse. This internalized oppression leads to self-hate, and self-hate leads to division. Farrakhan urges us to break this cycle by first seeing the divine essence within ourselves and within each other. The message here is clear. Self-hate is not just personal, it is communal. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. Farrakhan's words are a call to heal, to love ourselves fully, and to see the divine in every brother and sister. The act of loving each other is a spiritual act of resistance against the system that seeks to divide and conquer. It's an affirmation that despite what we've endured, we are still worthy, we are still divine, and we are still powerful. In this context, Farrakhan speaks to the need for unity. Only when we come together, shedding the weight of self-hate, will we be able to rise. This isn't just about individual healing, it's about collective restoration. We cannot build a strong community if we are constantly tearing each other down. Farrakhan's message, grounded in the Bible and rooted in truth, is a call to action, to love our brothers and sisters as God commands. This is the first step in reclaiming our true power and our true purpose. Healing begins with the individual, but it ripples out to the community. By confronting the self-hate that has been perpetuated through oppression, black people can start to reclaim their identity and their power. It's time to let go of the false narratives and rise as a united force, ready to build the future God intended for us. 3. Black unity and empowerment. Minister Louis Farrakhan's message calls for black people to rise together in unity. This is not just a plea for peace, but a call for empowerment that can only come when we stand as one. Farrakhan insists that black unity is the key to unlocking the full potential of the black community. It's not just about political or social movements, it's about spiritual and economic empowerment. We need to return to the strength that comes from shared purpose and mutual support. The Bible speaks of the power of unity in Matthew 18:19. If any two of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Unity in purpose amplifies spiritual power. When we come together, focused on one goal, the possibilities are limitless. Farrakhan echoes this by reminding us that when black people unite, we can accomplish great things. Throughout history, when black communities have stood together, whether through the civil rights movement or the Million Man March, significant change has occurred. Unity is not just about coming together in the physical sense, it's about coming together spiritually and mentally. Farrakhan highlights the importance of black people working together to create economic independence. The foundation of this unity is rooted in shared resources. Farrakhan asks, why are we still struggling? The answer, he suggests, is that we have not fully embraced our collective strength. Instead of viewing ourselves through the lens of division, we need to see ourselves as one, united by shared history, struggles, and divine purpose. Historical context further illustrates the importance of black unity. From the time of slavery, the system sought to divide black people. It encouraged mistrust and discord, intentionally preventing us from seeing the power of collective action. Whether through segregation or systemic racism, the forces working against us have always known that the true threat to their power is black unity. But Farrakhan offers hope. He reminds us that unity is still within our grasp. It's not about waiting for someone else to lead or expecting change to come from external forces. It's about black people taking charge of their own destiny, economically, spiritually, and socially. This is about reclaiming what was once stolen, our unity, our purpose, and our collective power. When Black people unite, they become an unstoppable force. Farrakhan's message reminds us that unity doesn't just make us stronger, it empowers us to overcome oppression, rebuild communities, and create the future God has ordained for us. Through unity, we don't just rise, we ascend. It's time to stop waiting for others to change our circumstances. The power to transform our future is already in our hands, and it begins with coming together in unity. 4. The concept of God within us. Minister Louis Farrakhan delivers a powerful message that challenges the way we perceive ourselves. He asserts that every Black person carries within them the divine essence of God. This is not just a metaphor, but a deep spiritual truth. Farrakhan emphasizes that God is not a distant, unreachable being, but resides within each of us. In Psalm 82:6, the Bible declares, "Ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High." Farrakhan draws attention to this verse, urging us to realize that we are divine beings with the potential to reflect God's greatness on earth. For too long, Black people have been taught to see themselves as inferior, as lesser beings. The oppression and systemic racism we've faced throughout history have worked tirelessly to strip us of our self-worth. Farrakhan counters this narrative by reminding us that we were created in God's image. Just as God breathed life into Adam, so too does his divine essence flow through us. This is the foundation of our power. Our worth does not come from external validation or material wealth, but from our intrinsic connection to the divine. Farrakhan stresses that if we truly understand this truth, it changes everything. Our confidence, our resilience, our ability to rise above adversity, all of these come from recognizing the divine nature within us. This concept is not about arrogance or supremacy, but about understanding that we are powerful because of who we are in God. This perspective shifts the way we view ourselves and the world around us. It teaches us that we are not victims but victors. Historically, Black people have been taught that they are less than others, less intelligent, less capable, less deserving of equality and success. But Farrakhan implores us to reject these lies. When we understand that we are created in the image of God, we realize that there is no limit to what we can achieve. The same God who created the universe resides within us, empowering us to make change, overcome oppression, and fulfill our divine purpose. This message of divine empowerment isn't just spiritual, it has practical implications for how we live our lives. Farrakhan encourages Black people to use this divine understanding to create change, both in their personal lives and in society. By embracing our inherent divinity, we can build a future where we are no longer oppressed but empowered. This understanding of who we are is the key to unlocking our potential. As you listen to Farrakhan's words, consider the power that lies dormant within you. Realize that you are not just a person of flesh and blood, but a divine being with the capacity to reflect God's glory and transform the world. Stand in your truth, knowing that you are made in the image of the Most High and are equipped with the strength to rise above anything that stands in your way. 5. Breaking free from oppression. Minister Louis Farrakhan boldly calls on Black people to break free from the chains of historical oppression that have bound them for centuries. From slavery to systemic racism, Black people have been subjected to external forces that aim to keep them down. Farrakhan emphasizes that these forces, both visible and invisible, have sought to erase Black identity, suppress Black power, and keep Black people from understanding their true worth. He warns that breaking free from this oppression is not just about physical liberation, but about spiritual and mental freedom as well. Farrakhan draws upon the words of Jesus in John 8:32, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." The truth, Farrakhan explains, is that Black people have been lied to. They have been made to believe that their worth is tied to their subjugation, their oppression, and their historical pain. But the truth, found in the Bible and the teachings of Farrakhan, is that Black people are not inherently inferior. In fact, they are superior because they carry the image of God within them. Breaking free from oppression requires more than just a change in circumstances. It requires a deep personal awakening, a realization of who you are and what you are capable of. Farrakhan challenges Black people to acknowledge that they have been spiritually and mentally enslaved, not just physically. The chains may have been removed from the body, but the mind and spirit have often remained imprisoned by the lies that have been passed down through generations. To reclaim your true identity and power, Farrakhan urges you to reject the false narratives that have been imposed on you. You must stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a victor. Recognize that the oppression you've faced has only made you stronger. You were never meant to be bound. The truth is that Black people have the divine power to overcome any obstacle, any system, and any structure that seeks to keep them oppressed. This isn't just a call to action for individuals, it's a call to action for the entire Black community. Farrakhan stresses the importance of collective liberation, working together to break free from the chains that bind the community as a whole. This is a spiritual, economic, and cultural revolution. Farrakhan reminds us that we are not just fighting for personal freedom, but for the freedom of every Black person. By freeing ourselves, we free each other. The spiritual significance of breaking free from oppression is immense. It is a divine mandate for Black people to reclaim their true purpose, their dignity, and their power. Farrakhan encourages us to stand tall, walk in confidence, and use the divine power within to shape our own futures. This is the time to break free from the psychological chains and start living the life God has ordained for you. Embrace the truth, embrace your divine identity, and watch as your life and your community transforms. 6. Economic empowerment and building for the future. Minister Louis Farrakhan calls for economic independence and the creation of wealth within the Black community. He stresses the importance of building businesses, controlling resources, and fostering a culture of economic empowerment. Farrakhan believes that true liberation is not just political or social, but economic. He urges Black people to take charge of their economic future by learning to build wealth, invest in businesses, and create systems that allow them to thrive without relying on external forces. He refers to Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender, highlighting how economic dependence leaves communities vulnerable to exploitation. Farrakhan explains that without financial independence, Black people are subject to the whims of those in power, who dictate the terms of their survival. Economic empowerment, therefore, is a crucial step toward true freedom and self-determination. Historically, Black communities have been excluded from wealth-building opportunities. From redlining to discriminatory lending practices, systemic barriers have been constructed to prevent Black people from accumulating wealth. Yet Farrakhan believes that the power to change this narrative lies within the community itself. He encourages Black people to stop looking to others for opportunities and instead create those opportunities for themselves. Building businesses, investing in real estate, and fostering entrepreneurship are critical tools in this journey. Farrakhan emphasizes the importance of unity in economic empowerment. He proposes that the Black community pool their resources to buy property, invest in land, and build businesses that serve their needs. For example, he suggests that Black men could collectively raise money to buy abandoned properties and restore them, not just for profit, but to give back to their communities. He imagines a world where Black people are no longer consumers of other people's goods and services, but creators of their own economic ecosystem. He proposes collective ownership of resources, from farms to stores, to ensure the long-term prosperity of Black communities. The spiritual significance of economic empowerment is deeply connected to self-worth. When Black people control their finances, they not only gain power in the material world, but also affirm their spiritual and divine right to thrive. Economic independence is part of honoring God's gift of strength and ability. By taking control of their financial futures, Black people can create legacies of prosperity that will benefit generations to come. Farrakhan's message is clear. Economic empowerment is a path to dignity, autonomy, and lasting change. It's about taking ownership of your future, rebuilding what has been broken, and creating new systems that honor Black people's divine worth. By working together and supporting one another, Black communities can shift the economic landscape, break free from the cycle of poverty, and live with the pride and power that God has ordained for them. 7. Unity over division. In this powerful scene, Minister Farrakhan highlights the essential importance of unity within the Black community. He speaks passionately about the need to move beyond divisions, whether they stem from colorism, classism, or religious differences. Farrakhan emphasizes that true progress can only be achieved when Black people come together, recognizing their shared purpose and divine calling. He asserts that these divisions have been strategically imposed to weaken the community and prevent collective progress. Farrakhan references the Bible in Mark 3:25, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," pointing out that division only weakens any community or cause. He uses this passage to underscore how Black people, who have already faced systemic oppression and hardship, cannot afford to fight among themselves. Disunity serves the oppressor's agenda and ensures that the community remains powerless. Instead, Farrakhan calls for unity, urging Black people to set aside their differences and build a stronger, more cohesive front. The spiritual significance of unity cannot be overstated. When Black people unite, they are fulfilling God's command to love and support one another. Farrakhan draws on the example of the early Christian church and other successful movements where unity led to great transformation. He believes that when individuals come together in the name of shared purpose and mutual respect, they tap into a divine power that transcends individual strength. This unity, rooted in faith, is more than just practical. It is spiritual, with the potential to ignite lasting change within the community and beyond. Unity is not just about coming together for collective strength, but also about healing and restoring what has been broken. Farrakhan urges the Black community to heal the internal wounds of self-hate, competition, and misunderstanding. The divisive forces, he argues, have worked tirelessly to keep the community fragmented, but healing can only begin when people choose to see each other as brothers and sisters in faith. Healing is part of the spiritual process of reclaiming true identity and power. Farrakhan's vision is a community that supports one another, where resources are shared and all are working toward common goals. He urges the Black community to move beyond superficial differences, be they religious, cultural, or economic, and to focus on what truly matters: collective empowerment and divine purpose. By uniting, Black people can break free from the mental and spiritual chains imposed on them by centuries of oppression. The application to faithful life is clear. Unity in the Black community is not just an option, it is a necessity. It is a divine calling that transcends all earthly divisions. In the same way that Christ calls the church to be one body, Farrakhan calls on the Black community to embrace one another in unity. This unity can lead to transformation, healing, and an unstoppable collective power that will change the course of history. By uniting in faith and purpose, Black people will unlock the true potential of their collective strength, creating a future of empowerment, equality, and lasting change. The message is simple. The time to unite is now, for in unity, the Black community will find its true power. Conclusion. In this journey through Minister Louis Farrakhan's powerful words, we've uncovered a message that calls for deep reflection, spiritual awakening, and unity within the Black community. The themes of divine identity, breaking free from oppression, and coming together in unity resonate not just as a call to action, but as a divine purpose for all who are ready to embrace it. We are reminded that each Black person is made in the image of God, carrying within them the essence of the divine. Understanding this truth is the first step in reclaiming our power and overcoming centuries of systematic oppression. Minister Farrakhan's message is not merely one of empowerment, but of spiritual reclamation. It challenges us to confront the forces that have divided us and instead come together to build a future rooted in love, unity, and collective strength. This vision calls for us to rise above division, heal from the wounds of self-hate, and support one another in ways that honor God's image within us. As Black individuals, we must recognize that unity is not just a social concept, it is a spiritual one. In Christ, there is no room for division. Our collective strength lies in our ability to unite, stand together, and build an independent and prosperous future for ourselves and our communities. This is our divine calling, and it is time for each of us to answer it. If this message resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe to keep spreading this powerful truth. We are not only individuals, we are one body, one community, with the divine potential to transform our lives and the world. Share your thoughts on how unity and self-love can shape the future of the Black community. How can you take action to foster unity in your own life and community? Together, let's stand united and move toward the future that God has destined for us. How has this message of unity and divine empowerment inspired you? What steps will you take today to start building bridges in your community and embrace the true strength that lies in collective action? Let's continue this conversation in the comments below.